First topic would be is the coronavirus stuff in basketball. Now, the date that I'm recording this on is January 10th, right? So, with the news of like someone like Jason Tatum testing positive for coronavirus, and then there's Seth Curry the other day getting positive. You know, yeah, think about it. This is really gonna affect seeding, right? Because they're doing all this contact tracing stuff where whoever's next to them, they're just gonna get quarantined, right? So Jason Tatum's out for like, I don't know, like 10 games, maybe 10 games, right? Kevin Durant. I don't think Kevin Durant was positive for coronavirus, right? But he was quarantined for the week, I believe, right? So obviously this is gonna affect seeding, pretty dramatically, right? Because they're taking out your best players basically for 2 weeks, and the Sixers game the other day had like 7 people out. So basically, it was Embiid, Simmons, Tobias Harris, Steph Curry. I mean, was Matisse out? I don't know, but it was like pretty dramatically, right? So basically, they're starting their 12th man rotations with like their like practice squad people, right? So Dwight gets to start. Danny Green's still there. Tyrese Maxey. I think that's his name. Tyrese Maxey. Their point guard that scored like 39 points or something like that. I mean, they didn't really have much. So I mean, you think about it, right? Like everyone's gonna be trying to fight for seeding. So all these early games are gonna be really, really important for teams that want seeding advantages because once this basketball season is like really short. I mean, when I think about it, I was just checking out the fantasy stuff, right, for like fantasy basketball this year, and it was like ending week 17 for me. So basically, I'm like, whoa, this is like a football, fantasy like season basically, and 61 games I think is being played this year. So obviously, you want to win as much games as possible, right? So, but it's gonna be hard to do because obviously your players are out for a significant portion of the time. And you gotta think about it, it's like, dude, like if this is gonna happen, like why and why did the NBA come back, right? Like, if you're all about, safety and all that stuff, like, you know, sports in general, why not just do another bubble, right? If you're really, really concerned about health and safety, because dude, like you're kind of affecting basically your team, right? If you're basically quarantined, and this is gonna be an interesting season in terms of standings, right? When you think about it, like it's be like, oh, like why is, I don't know, like insert blank, why is the Celtics you know a fifth seed or a sixth seed this year? Like, oh, it's because like Jason Tatum was out for a significant portion, Jaylen Brown was out for a significant portion. Insert that kind of example, right? And you would think it would affect the eighth spots as well. So teams like Charlotte with Gordon Hayward, who's playing like an all star this year. Scary Terry and all them boys playing pretty well. Charlotte Hornets, they want the eighth spot. I mean, who else is gunning for the eighth spot this year in the East? Who was even the eighth spot in the East last time? It was let's see, it was the Magic, right? Something of that sort. It was like the Nets or the Magic. Something, I can't think of it right now, but like all these teams like gunning for the eighth spot. It's just gonna be a little bit more hectic now. So that's probably why they insert that play-in thing again. I think they did the play-in thing. That's if that's what I remember correctly. They were talking about that in TNT, but it was all about safety. I mean, why not just cancel the season, right? Like if they're really all about like, hey, like obviously you cannot control these NBA players, right? They're gonna be out and about, I mean, you look at James Harden. James Harden don't give a shit. Like, James Harden just goes on and on. He does what he wants. I mean, it took him forever just to come back for the NBA season, right? I mean, he was there in the practice squads, I think, but like practice sessions, but he was still quarantining. So I don't know. And James Harden, he likes his establishments in Atlanta. And all these dudes, right? Like you think like a lot of these like players, rookies and stuff, they like to do the same thing too, the nightlife stuff. Like just think about the open states like Orlando, Texas, like all these like open states that you can do whatever you want. Like the NBA like cannot control all their players. They can only set examples of them for like their superstars and all stars and stuff like that. So it's getting pretty interesting. And the thing is, when there's a game with Jonas Valanciunas, like he didn't even test like positive at all, but he still had to sit out. So it's kind of this weird kind of logic, this coronavirus stuff, right? Where you see the coaches wearing masks, but when they want to start yelling at the refs, they pull down the mask. I mean, it's all optics right now. So I mean, what's really going on, right? So it is a very, very interesting thing, because priority right now is just to win as much games as possible, right? So you got to do or die, basically. I mean, why not just play your guys like, I don't know, like 40 minutes per game, right? Because the scheduling is basically, you're playing the same team over and over again for like the next couple of days, right? So it's like not too much travel and whatnot, and the game plan to do film sessions and stuff like that, it's gonna be the same team, so there's more leeway, so you gotta win these games. But I mean, whatever, man. I mean, NBA is all about money. That's why they're importantly back. So I guess it is what it is. But dude, it's kind of hectic, man. You just think about it. This season in terms of just fantasy, sports betting, everything. It's just super random this year. So we'll see what happens. Like further on, if gonna they're gonna just see if there's more cases pop up, and we'll see how they determine it from there.